Well, then you get demerit. You let Tom.
I was at my kids last night. So this should be a TikTok. They're all on TikTok. They're all. But anyway, they have it's looking at you and AI shows you the younger. And they're like, oh, that's like you. And I'm like, no, that isn't even when I was a kid.
So it wasn't very accurate. That goes without saying. But artificial intelligence. Awesome. All right.
Very happy to be with you today. My name is Althea, and I'll be here at City. So, first announcement is we have someone's left the keys with a really cool little keychain. Decorative something. Keys going once. We'll be auctioning off the Toyota at the end of service today. I'm gonna leave these right here, so maybe somebody will come back in. All right. I'm very happy to be here today. Glad you're here. Glad everybody online is here. So let's remember to turn off our cell phones and be fully present. And we'll start with our land acknowledgement. Let's take a minute to feel into the people that walked here and had lives and had names and had histories before we got here. We want to acknowledge that this is indigenous land of the Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Ute peoples, and it is important for us to name them. Their legacy matters because this was their sacred ground, and it is made more holy for Althea because of it. To ensure that this land acknowledgement is more than a statement only, Althea looks for opportunities to be impactful partners and allies for Indigenous communities. Our building is home to 2 nonprofit organizations that impact these communities in Denver. They are the Spirit of the Sun and Sisters of Color United in Education, whose work through activism, programming, and education is very impactful. And we affirm our diversity. We affirm that we are a community of diverse spiritual seekers. We are growing in diversity of race, gender, and sexual orientation, age, ethnicity, backgrounds, and physical abilities. We are evolving in consciousness, moving beyond differences and dichotomies to embrace oneness, unity, and community. We are ever more aware of past and present biases and atrocities, and are committed to being an open and safe place for seekers to further their journey on the spiritual path toward awakening the spirit of oneness in all. All right, we'd like to welcome. Do we have any first-timers here today? Anybody for the first time? They're in the back. So we have thank you, Serona, lovely Flowerly. Oh, another a fellow Labyrinth fan in the audience. So thanks for coming, and today, please be our special guest after services for lunch over in the community center, and we'll get to know you better. All right, Barbara has a few words about Jane Pop.
Good morning. I'm sure that many of you know that Jane Klopp, who is a long-time minister here with her husband Carl, passed away last week on Monday the 27th. She was here when they were both here when it was the First Divine Science Church of Denver. And I know that there are a number of us who knew her and experienced her and Carl's tremendous teachings and wisdom. Jane was an amazing mystic and teacher. She was actually a college professor. She brought depth and contemplation actually to the services and all of her in her messages. And it was really wonderful to experience. I came in 1996, and because she was teaching, well, I found out that she was I wanted to take a class in Artist Way, and my friend Pam Getty said, oh, we have one, Jane Kopp was teaching. And so that was my first introduction, and it was wonderful. In fact, I took it twice. And then I started coming to the services, and they were just very meaningful. It was my first experience knowing about divine science and how much I resonated with the oneness aspect and all the mysticism. It was just really special for me, and I know for many, many others. When Jane resigned from Dean after her husband died, I think in 2005, she stayed on for a number of years and taught classes. She was in charge of Brooks Divinity School, and even up until her death, she was holding Zoom classes 2 and 3 times a week. She was just amazing. I was able to see her about a month ago. I'm on the board, and I thought that we ought to find some way to celebrate her life and honor her, and Carl's memory too. And so I asked Katie Kurtz what flowers she liked, so I could take her some flowers. And Katie said, oh, she loves hydrangeas. So I went to the actually Trader Joe's because they have great flowers. And I got some hydrangeas, except for somehow my wires in my mind got crossed, and I got her hyacinths instead. So anyway, I realized my mistake before I went, and so I went again and got some hydrangeas. Only they sold them, you know, in bunches. Not just planted ones. And I took both hydrangeas and hyacinths. Well, she was pleased as punch. She just loved it. And I spent over an hour with her. It was amazing. She was in hospice at her home at that time, and she loved the flowers. And I told her that we had decided as a board that we would honor her and Carl with some hydrangea shrubs, the bushes. And I talked to Daryl, and we're thinking of planting them. Actually, we probably have 2, so, you know, symmetry out in the west garden. So we will be having as that moves along and we organize it and stuff, we'll have a ceremony for that, and you all will be notified and certainly welcome to come. And let's see, I know that I don't have any information about a funeral or a memorial, but as that comes, I'm sure you'll find out about it. There will be more information in the newsletter and online about it. So now I wanted to mention this. I just think this is an incredible bit of trivia. She and Carl were here, and only Nona Brooks was a minister longer than they were. So that's pretty amazing. They were here a long time, and really, those of us who knew her and knew Carl can feel them here in many ways, in parts of the service. So to bring this to a close, I'd like to light this candle in her memory. And so we can have a bit of silence.
Thank you, Barbara. That was lovely. Thank you, Jane. All right, is Sean O'Gary here? All right, join me. Sean's going to share an opening prayer with us.
Good morning, everyone. We just take some time to center our hands, feel our feet on the ground, and take some breaths. Allowing yourselves to arrive at this space we appreciate and honor. and feeling your presence that's still here in this space today. Now we can take our breath and begin to open our heart space. I have a prayer I'd like to read today. It's a prayer to connect to Source. It's a prayer that was written by Jose Luis Stevens. He's out of Santa Fe and was introduced to me by a mentor of mine. He's recently written a book called How to Pray the Shaman's Way. Creator and provider, you are vast. The farthest reaches of starry space cannot encompass you. You supply every particle of the universe. You stretch in every direction to infinity. You are all the time without limit. You are lightless light in the endless void. You are the awesome sound of a great waterfall, 1,000 miles wide. A trillion voices singing harmony, a billion drums beating in rhythm. You are every instrument playing in the same instant, a shattering symphony of energy and light. And this light is great, magnificent, a song that shines within me, it sings in me. I am vast. I am endless energy radiating. My heart pours hope, burning light, to engulf the earth, the planets, and all of space. My mind expands to encompass your infinite light. My mouth opens like a canyon to sing your truth. I am making a difference on this planet. I am participating in a massive awakening with all my brothers and sisters. Together we are powerful and we are great because we are mirrored in your power, spirit of space, spirit of time, spirit of the infinite. Amen.
Okay, hi everybody. Let's all say Althea Center again and stand for it, please. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one is all. Perfect light, perfect love, and perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God, and are ever one with this perfect light, perfect love, and perfect substance. Okay, we're all going to sing the peace of God.
So now we'll be back. So nice to hear you all sing. So we have an awesome musician today. Lauren Rombert is a multi-award-winning songwriter and recorded artist who has been featured in print, on radio, and on TV. Now based in Denver, previously Chicago, she has performed in various parts of the U.S. and in Paris. I visited there. Her critically acclaimed debut album, From These Stones, was selected by Performing Songwriter magazine as a top 12 DIY. I don't know what that means. Do it yourself. Well, I know what that meant. Okay, very cool. Aside from her own artist project, she is one half of two duo projects, Spark Syndicate and Rebels Plus Rogues. Lauren is particularly passionate about creating empowering and inspiring songs that delve into overcoming obstacles, defying limitations, and never ever giving up. But she is also has a penchant for epic, dark and twisty cinematic pop. Spark Syndicate's new epic swagger empowerment single, Fight On, was recently placed in promo on ESPN, and it was played during the quarterfinal of the Italian Cup on Italy's TV station Canale 5, Cinque, I guess. Her music is available on all streaming platforms. New songs are currently in production, and the next single will be released mid-spring. Can't wait, Lauren.
Good morning, everyone. This song is all about celebrating freedom, embracing every aspect of your wild and wonderful selves, and living life on one's own terms. And I hope people feel absolutely free to sing. You'll pick up the chorus super quickly. Feel free to stand, dance, do whatever you like during this. But thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. Freedom pumping in my veins. Defiance is my middle name. Call the wild and an animal, swag in my stride and I'm in control. I am unstoppable, let's do it my way. Ah-ooh, la, la, that's who I am, who I am. Ah-ooh, la, la, watch me now, can't stop me now. Ah-ooh, la, la, that's who I am, who I am. Ah-ooh, la, la, that's who I am. Explorers, I want to hear ya. Got fire burning in my bones. Do my thing, I'm in my flow. I call the shots, clean up my domain. Make all the rules, gotta run this game. I want to change, gonna do it my way. Ah-ooh, la, la, that's who I am, who I am. Ah-ooh, la, la, watch me now, can't stop me now. Ah-ooh, la, la, that's who I am, who I am. Ah-ooh, la, la, that's who I am. Hey, I'm so fabulous. I'm ooh la la, ooh la la. Yeah, I was born for this. Do it my way. Hey, keep your eyes on me. I'm ooh la la, ooh la la. Yeah, you like what you see. I do it my way. Ah, ooh la la, that's who I am, who I am. Ah, ooh la la, watch me now, can't stop me now. Ah, ooh la la, that's who I am, who I am. Ah, ooh la la. Are you ready? Ah, ooh la la, that's who I am, who I am. Ah, ooh la la, watch me now, can't stop me now. Ah, ooh la la.
spiritual practitioner, intention life journey coach, nonprofit director, and consultant for the organizational change and excellence. Known for helping people and organizations through the most difficult challenges. His work with the United Nations, Inter-American Development Bank, African Management Services, I gotta treat you better, Kevin. The Children's Global Peace Project, and other game-changing organizations has helped create bright, new opportunities in our modern society. He works from the inside out, revealing inspiration and genius that got left behind in the distractions of everyday life. Kevin envisions a world where every person realizes for themselves an energy of joy and excitement in expressing their unique passions as individual expressions of oneness. He lives in a happy home in Arvada with his loving wife and family. Welcome, Kevin.
Good morning, Althea.
Good morning.
Thank you, Lauren. That song makes me feel alive. Makes me feel like a rabble-rouser. What a rabble-rouser is? That's what I was when I was a kid growing up. I was the youngest of 4 children. And, sometimes we had a no running rule in the house, obviously. It wasn't a big house. And sometimes I could really, really get under the skin of one of my older sisters. And when she's chasing me through the house, what are you supposed to do? Run? So one particular Sunday afternoon, I found myself in solitary confinement in my room with the door shut. On the back of the door was 1 Corinthians 13. You may have probably heard some of it before. Love is patient, love is kind, a bunch of stuff I didn't understand as a kid. And love is not easily angered and keeps no record of wrongs. Well, that upset me because my parents sure seemed angry and they were keeping a record of my wrongs. Come to think of it, from what they tell me about God at church, he seems to be doing the same thing. And being the critical thinker I was at age 6, I decided that I was going to toss this God thing out. Christianity, Jesus in the Bible, all out with the same bathwater. And maybe that wasn't a bad place for me to start to find my own feeling of God for myself, my own experience of God. And about 20 years later, I shared this story with you before. I was in Sedona on a vortex, and I was overcome with this feeling of oneness, peace, heartache. It just opened up my whole being, and it made me cry because I've been so disconnected from life, from source, and here it was, always here. It was always here. And I left it behind 20 years earlier, like it didn't exist, and it was, this oneness was always supporting me. And Sedona was just the beginning for me. I started taking a Course in Miracles, I joined a New Thought church, and I discovered Christian mysticism and the Aramaic Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, these Dead Sea Scrolls were, a long time ago, translated by the Greeks, then translated and edited by the Romans, canonized into the Christian Bible, and later translated into English. That's a brief explanation of a lot of what happened over hundreds of years and a lot of different changes in the original text of Aramaic. And in the 1900s, when New Thought was developing, we thought the best we could do was go back to the Greek translations because we didn't found the Aramaic Dead Sea Scrolls hadn't been discovered yet. And so in the 1950s, with the discovery of the Aramaic Dead Sea Scrolls, we had something new to look at with the Bible and the teachings of Jesus. We can look at related words in Arabic and Hebrew. We can look at the culture of the time of Jesus. And we can look at, believe it or not, modern Aramaic-speaking Judeo-Christians that are living in the area of Syria, Turkey right now. there's Aramaic speaking Christians. Well, what I would call Christian because they didn't go through the whole Catholic piece and they are working with the original teachings of Jesus. And wow, what a gold mine of information. So, today is Palm Sunday, and I thought it would be fun to go back and see what Jesus said. So I sat down with Jesus in meditation. And if you're having a challenge, imagining me sitting with Jesus in meditation, that's okay because I brought it up to him. I said, hey, people are going to say, why can't I talk with God directly? And Jesus said, you are talking to God directly. And I said, oh boy, that's not going to go over well. Now it sounds like I have to go through you, Jesus, to get to God. And Jesus thought that was very funny. He said, Kevin, whenever you get quiet in the holy breath and go within, you're communing in the oneness. That which you like to call God. So Jesus, like many other people have pointed out to me, pointed out that I like to use this word God a lot. So let me apologize. I realized that it carried a lot of trauma for me for a long time. And I had to reclaim the word for myself. And I honor that it carries a lot of trauma for people right now. And it's not really a very accurate word, as we'll find out. So my apologies. I use God a lot. I've reclaimed it for myself as unity, oneness, wholeness, love, peace, all that feeling I had in Sedona. So to continue with this conversation with Jesus, when I realized that, what are you telling me, Jesus? And I'm actually just sitting here talking to myself because I'm communing in the oneness. And he said, well, open your eyes. Is there anyone else here? So, to clarify, while sitting in meditation, with my focus on Jesus and opening into the oneness, the feeling I had that overwhelmed me was boundless, unconditional love. And I thought I might be talking with Jesus to myself for a while, but I realized, oh, this is it. It's love. It's that feeling I always hope to arrive at when I'm in prayer or meditation. Boundless love. And so I began poking around in the Gospels for what Jesus said about love. And I found this in Matthew, and you've probably heard of it before. The setting here is the day after Palm Sunday. Jesus is in Jerusalem, and there's the usual crowd gathered, poking him with questions, trying to tear him down. And one of the Pharisees, one of the religious leaders at the time, asks him, what's the greatest commandment in the law? And I can imagine he's probably thinking about the 10 Commandments. We don't know. He doesn't say. But Jesus responds with something you've heard probably before. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. So to begin giving you an idea of where we're going with this, I want to cover this word commandment that was translated in English as commandment. And if we go back to the original Aramaic, we're not talking about societal laws. We're not talking about religious laws. We're talking about spiritual laws, like we study in New Thought. And Jesus is sharing what he thinks are the most important spiritual laws of manifestation here. So that's just give you a preview of where we're going. I hope that's big enough. If not, you don't have to look at that. You can just pay attention to me. The first word I want to look at is love. I almost skipped over it, but I realized that love can mean a lot of different things. If we try to translate love, amour, in French, to love in English, we leave a lot of sexy, sultry romance behind. And the same thing happens when you try to translate love from the Aramaic into English. What scholars are trying to do is do word-for-word translation. Otherwise, your translated book will be 5 times longer than your original book. And a lot of meaning gets left behind. So the process I used for myself here, since we're talking about a Jewish carpenter, was a Jewish process called midrash. And midrash is a process of looking at each word in a teaching, and each group of words, and then the whole teaching itself. It's a process of cultivating wisdom, introspection from your own heart for your own life. And your process of midrash around a teaching would look different than mine. My process at another time in my life would look different for me. No one can tell me what a teaching means for me. Nobody can tell me what the infinite means to me. But with a process like midrash, we can slow down and discover it for ourselves. And so the next word in here is a testing one. For me, lots of times when I think of the Old English, yes, my Lord, somebody I must bow down to that's superior to me. But when I begin poking around the Aramaic, it's not about something separate from me. It's not something superior to me. It's something within me. This word vira is the life force, the chi, the prana, that it's the oneness living through me and as me. And when I took this meaning of the Lord into another teaching, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I recognize that this life force living through me, this God of oneness, is personal. The universe is always conspiring in my favor. It is so personal that it's like a rod and staff that a shepherd uses to guide her sheep. And I got another deeper connection with God, if you will, with the oneness, just through this understanding of Lord. And the next word is your God. And I like that it says, the Lord your God. To me, it's almost redundant. We've already said it's your chi, your oneness, but now we're going to tell you it's your individual expression of the oneness. The word in Aramaic used most often for God is Allah. Even when I say it, it drops me into my heart. The oneness, the unity, the first movement of mystical manifestation, Allah. And then when I bring this together, the Lord your God, if there was ever any part of oneness, any part of the unity, all of creation that I might claim for myself, it's my life force. It's the individual expression of the one that's me. It's God living, I used that word again. It's the oneness living through me and as me. I'm going to go off my own script for a minute. The first time I found this, the Lord your God, it's in the Old Testament in the Ten Commandments. And it was part of what disrupted me as a 6-year-old. The Lord your God is a jealous God. And we're not talking about the oneness here. We're not talking about all of it. We're talking about the Lord your God, the individual expression of the one that is you, has an ego. And so the Ten Commandments just tells you up front, guess what? You have a lower part of your brain that wants to survive, right? But that's good because this is God's vehicle and we want you to survive with it. But we're going to warn you that it's not, these Ten Commandments again are not about heaven and hell. They haven't been invented yet, right? They're about how to live life, how to manifest. And so when the Ten Commandments start talking about the Lord your God is a jealous God, it just reminds me that, I have some things that I need to pay attention to that I just care about me. So, sorry for going off the script with that, but it was what hit me with this whole piece of the Lord your God. And then the next part, the translation is pretty close into Aramaic. Your heart, soul, and mind. But in the Aramaic, there's a deeper meaning of compassion here. Because the mind that is specifically being talked about here is the lower mind, the amygdala, the survival mind. And when you combine that with an awareness of your higher self, your eternal self, the feeling I get here is, hey, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. That's difficult. Be compassionate with yourself. And so what I'd like to do is run some mics around the room, because we have so much wisdom here, I feel, in this first verse, which I've gone through a lot, but if you want to simplify it, it's love yourself so fully that love pours out to all creation. And what I want to do before we do those mics, I want to do a little midrash experience with you all so that you can feel into this first verse. So if you would, if it's comfortable, close your eyes and allow yourself to breathe easily and naturally into the deepest place inside you. Focus your awareness on all the love you can breathe in at this moment. Feel the compassionate and creative light of Source pouring upon you. Feeling safe, warm, bathed in love, and relax into this. Open into this, and allow that radiant light to move outward to everything and all of creation. And then feel it coming back to you, pouring over you again and again, showering the unique expression of oneness that is you with love. Feeling yourself inclusive of the whole of creation. Love flowing through you from Source to all that is and back again. Bring this experience to every part of your being, all your heart, all your passion, all your awareness of yourself as a child of the universe. All your courage and life force and energy. Love the oneness living through you, as you, and all around you with every ounce of your being. This is how Jesus might have described the experience of giving and receiving love. When you're loving yourself fully, you're loving all of creation. When you're loving all of creation, you're loving yourself. And so the reason I want to run mics is sometimes it's hard to love myself. I want to know what you do or what you would like to do to love yourself so powerfully that it flows out to everyone and everything around you and back again. And so if you have something to share, I'm going to sit down and listen, because I want to know how you do it. How do you love yourself that powerfully?
Do I have to say it?
Mm.
You know, I meditate, because when I meditate, I feel a connection with everybody. And suddenly there's this moment. I meditate. Because when I meditate, I feel a connection with spirit and with everyone. And it just helps me carry it into the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then my cat sits on my lap and we meditate together. And I realize that all species are loving. And that's how I do it.
Thank you. When we start our day that way, it sets the tone of awareness. Thank you.
So the three things that I do to love myself, which have changed my life, she just mentioned meditation. Been doing it for about 17 years. I started with about 5 seconds. Now I can do, like this morning, I did a full hour. Second thing is gratitude. I do gratitude lists every morning. I send text gratitude lists throughout the country to all my friends, and they send them back. So it's really an amazing way to know my friends and to know myself. But gratitude is very self-loving. And the last thing is just self-love. I grew up I came to this church as a little boy, and grew up in the teenage 20s and 30s hating myself because I was gay and HIV positive and an addict. So today I absolutely love myself. It's been a huge change, and I'm so proud of who I am today. And I give myself hugs every day. So.
Thank you. Mark, I prepared you for this on Wednesday because you brought this exact subject up, and I said, you better be here.
Now, with that preface, what do I say? Actually, life has taught me a great deal about learning to love myself. I had a difficult journey doing that, but I learned a lot, and I learned enough that I now want to share it. And as I share, that's what brings me into greater connection. And among the things, I loved how it started with connect with Jesus. I was taught early on, Jesus, God still talks to us. I have found a book that begins, that has really touched my heart, begins with meditate, be with Jesus, being with God. And that's what works for me, and I'm hoping to bring a class or two here on that.
Thank you.
Hi. I would also just put a strong word of encouragement and advertisement out for meditation. I started in 1973 and I never quit. And I'm convinced that many times during my life that saved my life. And I always wanted to get in touch with my mystic side. And I kind of envy people who said, oh, I talk with God and I hear voices and things are revealed to me and I have this deep connection. And I always wondered, why don't I feel the same connection? The same, like going into the silence and hearing the voice of God, seeing the burning bush. And I realized that the way I hear things is through reading, through hearing what other people say, and for just all of a sudden getting some kind of a knowing. And it never happens during my meditation. It always happens when I'm not meditating. But someone will say something, and it's like, oh my God, I believe that. And I finally realized that's how voices speak to me, not in the silence, and not in the way that I read the mystics doing it, but just in hearing other people talk and saying something. Once in a while, I even will hear myself say something that I didn't know I knew. And then one other thing, and then in my practice, more and more, I realize how important it is to stop and look back at something I said that maybe I said, oh, I really didn't need to say that like that. I kind of wish I hadn't said that, but I did. But being able to look back and seeing these things, seeing that there maybe was another way I could have said that. And I think most of us that are in relationship will realize that that's where it often happens. Like, why did I say that to him? But I think that the more I think about that, the closer it gets to the action. And I find that sometimes when I want to say something, there's that little thing that says, oh, you don't need to say that. Why don't we look for another way to just have something else to say that has a little more compassion in it and understanding and love. So anyway, that's how my mysticism works. And I'm being instructed to give this to him. So he who must be obeyed.
I like the word practice. A meditation practice. We can't say, oh, I took a breath this morning so I don't have to breathe until tomorrow. That doesn't work too well with physical bodies we live in. A daily practice. It becomes stronger. And the way I like to describe it is after days, months, years, decades, even into the last century of meditation, I have developed what I call spiritual muscle. And that gives me a basis, a foundation for looking at and dealing with the events, situations, and conditions of life which flow past the end of my nose. And if you are in a human body, you will have conditions and situations which float past the end of your nose, maybe even hit you on the end of the nose. But it's that spiritual muscle which gives the insight to know that this is a condition. This is not the truth of who I am. The truth of who I am is I am an expression of spirit. And I'm not as spirit, I am spirit.
Let's do one more tasting too.
Well, I firmly believe we're here to express and expand our unique expression of love. And so I just constantly remind myself that I am a work in progress. And that allows me to have a lot of self-compassion and to see other people also as a work in progress.
One more.
I'd like to carry a series of statements with me that a mentor wrote. They're just statements of gratitude. And I constantly remind myself that it's no longer important to be right in life. It's only important to be present, whatever that means for whoever it is.
Yeah. It's similar to what I wanted to share about one way that I feel love for myself is when I'm in service to others. And I feel like sometimes it's really hard to love myself. And you might feel it's hard to love yourself. So if you would, let me be in service for just a moment and just share with you, you are loved. You are lovable. You are perfect, whole, and complete. And if you would, take it on for yourself, own it for yourself. Repeat it. I am love.
I am love.
I am lovable.
I am lovable.
I am perfect, whole, and complete.
I am perfect, whole, and complete.
All right, I want to hear some energy this time. Just one more. I am love.
I am love.
Sometimes I have a hard time believing I am. All right, so that is what Jesus says, in his opinion, is the most powerful law of manifestation. Love yourself so powerfully that it overflows into your love of all that is and back to you. And the second is like it. And this is where I find Jesus a little bit tongue-in-cheek, because he's just told you to love yourself in all of creation, and now he's going to say, don't forget to love your neighbor. And the word used here for neighbor doesn't mean just the person living next door to you. It means anyone in your close proximity, because they're not there by mistake. Oneness didn't make any mistakes. And you were part of the manifestation that brought that person close to you. So it might pay, good attention to love that person as well. And then he tells us how, the same way, the way you love the oneness within and without and all around you. Love your neighbor that way. So this whole second part may translate like this. Let me use the words that I actually wrote down because I like them. If I can find them. Here we go. Love, the individual expression of oneness, auspiciously drawn to be close to you, living with you, next door, in the grocery store, in traffic, at work, sitting close to you now. Love them with a compassionate awareness of your own challenges as a spiritual being having a human experience. Love them as much as you love the oneness within and all around you. My wife took me to get this shirt on Friday, which was very loving of her. And then I wore it, which is loving of myself because it's comfortable. Right? And I'm talking about a Jewish carpenter today. Let's be comfortable. I think Jesus was comfortable in who he was. And on the way there, she needed to get into the right-hand lane, and some guy slowed down and let her in. I said, that's love. I wish I drove like that guy all the time. So maybe I'd give myself a score of 4 out of 10 that I would slow down to let somebody in front of me and feel compassionate that they needed to get in this lane, or feel compassionate for the person tailgating me that they're in a hurry to get somewhere, or the person that just went zoom, zoom, zoom through traffic, that they're stressed right now, that they feel they need. I wish I could live with that type of experience of loving my neighbor. And when I do, Jesus is right. Man, I feel so much more love for myself and for life. Really, I just love this teaching. And what I would like to do is, this may feel like we've gone through a lot. Maybe feel like we're chewing on a lot, but very simply said, love yourself so powerfully. Love this oneness living through you and as you. This is a creation of God right here. Love it so powerfully that it flows out to everyone and everything. And don't forget the person near you. That's all he's saying. That to Jesus, this is the most powerful way to manifest our life as co-creators. I think he was a pretty smart teacher. I'm going to take you through a different, this was my Midrash process, yours would look different. This is the original author. This is his interpretation of the teaching, and I just want to take you through it one more time before we close today. So close your eyes if it's comfortable again. Allow yourself to breathe easily and naturally. And from the deepest part of yourself, let love be born for the rays of the one that shine within and around you. Let this come from your whole heart, the center of your life, your passion, your courage, your audacity, and touch the deepest parts of your whole self. From this place within, liberate your whole energy and life force to flood your entire grasping mind with love. This is the most important law of manifestation, the first creative movement that empowers all others. The second is like it. Draw a breath of compassion for the one mysteriously drawn to be near you. Love them as you love the self that dwells within and without. And so it is. For a deep dive today, we're going to do a group midrash process on this saying, which is another really rich one. Again, it's not a religious law or commandment. It's a practical spiritual process for conflict resolution. And I've left these translations at the cash box with Rick, even if you're not eating lunch, even if you're not going to the deep dive, feel free to take a copy of this. I love the translation here of how to get along with people that are annoying to you. Have a beautiful Palm Sunday. Thank you all. Come to Lord, we're ready. Really still your mouth.
So this is a song about being there for anybody, somebody who's going through a difficult time. It's called Oasis.
When you're lost in the desert, desperate for shelter, strength slipping away, I'll be right here beside you, a refuge to hide you till you find your way. I'll be your oasis. I'll be your oasis, holding on to you till you make it through. I'll be your oasis. When you're hopeless and hurting, give me your burden, rest here in that shade. Oh, I'll be your sanctuary. When you are weary, I'll keep you sound and safe. I'll be your oasis. I'll be your oasis, holding on to you till you make it through. I'll be your oasis. Ooh, protect you from the burning sun. From midnight come and winds that blow. I'll be your oasis. I'll be your oasis, holding on to you till you make it through. I'll be your oasis. Whoa, I'll be your oasis, holding on to you till you make it through. I'll be your oasis.
Here are 3 quotes on love. Oprah Winfrey said, "I've come to believe that each of us has a personal calling that's as unique as a fingerprint. That the best way to succeed is to discover what you love and then find a way to offer it to others in the form of service, working hard, and also allowing the energy of the universe to lead you. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Love is the nectar that heals." Love enables us to see things that cannot be seen without love. The eyes of compassion are also the eyes of understanding. Compassion is the sweet water that springs forth from the source of understanding. To practice looking deeply is the basic medicine for anger, hatred, and fear. And finally, Gary Zukav says, eventually you will come to understand that love heals everything, and love is all there is.
Thank you, Sarna. And then a reminder, when the heart opens, the eyes sometimes leak. It's very nice. We have a chance to tap into that unlimited field of abundance right now and guide some of that abundance into this building, this community, this church. So if you would, please prepare your offering. And we have several different ways to give. We have the dip jar in the back, and I believe there's a QR code. Is there a QR code on the program? So you might have to remind me where else, but. Oh, online. Right, online. Althea.org. All right, if you would. Thanks to our donors who have set up recurring weekly or monthly donations. You can donate at the website or the QR code as mentioned before, or at the back of the room. It is $10 a dip, so you can put a card in there. And that's it. If you'll all join me in affirming together. With great joy, I'm going to tell you something. I've been meditating a lot, and I am high. I am not kidding you. All right. The universe provides all that I need and all that I give. With great joy, I share my prosperity, planting seeds for a world I am helping to manifest. And so it is. Amen. All right, so at this time we open up for prayers of the people. So anyone have what we used to call in the Old Methodist Church, joys and concerns? Anything that's coming up for you? Other than being happy for the reminder that we have a chance for renewal this week. All these cool allegorical stories gives us a chance to kind of revisit that. Yes. We have a mic.
Testing. Okay. I just wanted to share with the community that Charles Richard Fletcher turned 91 years old yesterday. He's an April Fool's baby. Isn't that great? And when we're talking about love today,
I realize he has shown me so much love and I give it back to him in service. And I've experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly of what it's like to live in assisted living and then have to get transferred to a nursing home when his legs gave out and he could not walk anymore. And it's really opened my eyes to how our country does not take care of the elderly. But bless him, he's so adaptable, he's so sweet, that everybody that's around him falls in love with him. So we had a little gathering yesterday, 7 of us, to wish him a happy birthday. And it filled me with joy. And I just wanted to share this with you. Thank you.
Okay. I appreciate you. I'm going to share one, and then let's get a mic over here. I appreciate your reminder of April 1st, so I want to speak the name of my lifelong friend until we were 44, Kathy Lowe. We were friends from the time we were 18 months old, and she made her transition due to breast cancer, and I just love her so much. I'll get to talk to her daughter the day after tomorrow, so just going to say her name.
I need help living with, in this time of such uncertainty, politically, personally. It seems like everything is uncertain, and I think it probably always is, but right now it seems crazy. Change is taking place in the country and in my life, and it's, I like the illusion that I can kind of see what's coming around the bend. And I don't know what's coming around the bend that's making me nuts. I really work at trusting that there's a destiny for us, and everything that happens is for our good, even if it doesn't look like that. So I hang on to that. And we're not here for God to torment us. I feel tormented.
Thanks, Jeff.
I would love it if Althea would bless a friend of mine who's going through stem cell therapy for, she has a type of blood cancer. Boy, it is really, it's amazing, and yet it's scary. Even like when they take 12 vials of blood. I mean, not everything to begin with, but it's really involved, and she really needs the help. So I appreciate any prayers.
What's her name?
Sorry, her name is Paula.
I would like to request that we as a community continue sending a lot of love and prayer for the families of East High School, the teachers and the students, that these prayers and this love bring healing and hope to them, and to also help me envision a dome of white light around every school in this country and in this world, that they are protected, and that the sacred mission of raising children is kept safe, helping affirm safety for all teachers in all schools and all children and all families.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Yes, I would like a prayer for Matthew, who used to be our dishwasher here at Althea. He's had a very rough week and could really use some prayers for what he has to go through moving forward, whatever that is. It's different every day, but he could just use some help. Thank you.
announcement of a potential indictment for one of our former presidents, I would like prayers for healing and to know that oneness within this person and all of his supporters, because they are expressions of oneness as well. So prayers for this country and people.
All right, we join in for all to burn and give to that all these people and these issues today. Thank you. Will you join me for a moment of prayer? I invite you to close your eyes and go within and tap into that strength. Father God, we appreciate and we celebrate a long life well lived. We ask for more focus, more blessing, whatever's needed to improve the state of our country and how we treat our older individuals. Just pray for new energy and a drawing together of divine order in that area. Father, we're lifting up, Mother, we're lifting up feelings of uncertainty in all of life right now. As we listen to the news, we contemplate our own place in the world, we contemplate the great changes that we're living through. We pray again to be anchored in that center of what's real, in the center of our being, that connected to the one, connected to that energy of love. We focus our intention on a special blessing on those going through medical challenges, challenges of next steps, challenges of safety. We give our attention knowing that we work with the presence and the power that is omnipresent. And collectively, we can focus our energy toward everything that needs to be put in motion, put in place to honor the youth of this country, the right that they have to proceed to their school in safety every morning, the right that the teachers and administrators have to show up and give it their all without the distraction of worrying about their safety. We do invoke that white light, a powerful white light of truth and protection around every institution of learning in this country and in the world. And finally, we call on that vision of our interconnectedness to be reignited, brought to the surface, brought to the consciousness of all, so that the false walls of division are diluted and dissolved. As we speak the truth that we are one, we are one, we are one, and so it is. All right, so after service, Rick Kidsman is going to be in the library to join me in prayer. And you can submit online requests at the Althea website. And Jenny has some announcements for us.
All right, real quick. Well, first of all, I'm Jenny, and I'm part of the team that helps bring amazing Sunday speakers. Yeah. So let's have another round of applause for Kevin. Thank you so much. drop in the parking lot. If they are yours and you drive a Toyota, and you can tell us what they look like, maybe we'll give them to you. So speaking of speakers, we have so many cool Sundays coming up. So you're just going to need to spend your next few Sundays here, no matter how beautiful it is, no matter whether you're going to Jamaica or not, which is so unfair because I didn't get to go there yet. So the speakers that are coming up next Sunday is Easter, and the gentleman I just pointed at, Chris Parente, is going to be leading our service and giving that message. He is bringing live butterflies to his story and message with us, so come for that. And as we always have, Queen City Jazz for 20 plus years has performed on Easter, and they will be here. And be forewarned, this place will be full, so come early, plan to park. You have to get here real early if you want a good parking place. Otherwise, you may be out and about or take a lift to get here. But next Sunday is going to be simply amazing. The Sundays after that, we're going to do Earth Day not once, but twice. So we have Earth Day Part 1 on April 16th. And that's where our beloved Danny Stange, who has been helping us with Earth Day for years, is going to bring an indigenous perspective. We're going to have special music and special performances by Danny. So that's Earth Day Part 1. Earth Day Part 2 is April 23rd. And we will have the group that comes with live animals, live birds and reptiles. And we will have a beautiful live bird here with us to help celebrate our animal friends and reptiles this time, which is kind of new, I think. Don't worry, we won't pass those around and them up on stage. So, and one of our spiritual director candidates, Christina Long-Jones, will be speaking. So mark your calendar for that one as well. And then plenty of cool things coming after that on Sundays. But let me talk about a few quick announcements because I know on time we want to keep it quick. We are still doing our 100-year campaign. You'll notice that the red has gone up over the last 100 years, right? That stuff is like almost getting to 20 there. I'm an accountant, I'm going to say let's round that up to 20. So please give us more so we can get there. You're going to see new carpet, I think, before Easter. Yes. So that's coming, that's the plan. And we have raised, just so you know, the exact amount is $14,500, so we are getting there. We are already doing repairs. You'll see in the back balcony, that has been repaired. Working on the skylight, 2 spots catched in the balcony. So keep watching and keep giving, because it takes a lot to make this old girl look good. She's 100 years old, she looks better than most 100-year-olds, I know. Let's see, also, we had an annual general meeting. And we shared something really quick that we want to update you on around our property insurance. It was maybe going to be canceled because of some things. And we are working fast to correct all of that. Everything you donate helps us resolve those issues. The drainage issue that was really important, looks like we have a fix for that this week. So amen on that. Oh, dang, well, I'm behind, it's done. And that was one of the scary ones. So that has been fixed. And we do have 3 candidates right now for spiritual director that we're sort of zeroing in on. We are still taking applications though, so if you know somebody who pops into your world who might be perfect, let us know. We also had a new member ceremony last Sunday, and those who were here saw all the cool new members up on stage. There were 4 folks, though, who couldn't make it that day. We want them to stand up if they're here today. We want to acknowledge them and say, see, Rick's standing. Rick, where are you, dude? Wave your hand, he ran away. You'll find Rick. He'll be taking your money. There you go. Rick has member cards and gifts for you, so go see him. So if you would please stand up. Amos Blankenship, new member. Nikki Lockwood, new member. Rafael Onofre. I hope I got that even close. And Julie Claxton. Julie is here with us today. She's in there, she's in the kitchen. So we are so honored to have you with us as new official members. Thank you all so much. Let's see, we're keep going. Oh, Althea's Festival of Soul, mark your calendar for May 20th. Readers, healers, vendors, music. Some people call it a metaphysical fair, but we call it Festival for the Soul. If you would like to help us with that as a volunteer, Sarma, wave your arm there. Sarma is the person you want to talk to. She's also the person you want to talk to if you would like to find all the ways you can give your time. We talked a lot about service today and giving back. Well, this place doesn't take care of itself completely on staff and funds. So we need help in the kitchen always. We need ushers. We have so many ways that you can give back. So talk to Sarma about all of those ways. One of which is the upcoming garden beautifying project for Althea, April 8th. That will be next Saturday. Okay. Yes. 9:30 a.m., all gardeners, nature lovers come for a day of fun and prepping and planting in our garden. We provide tools and lunch. So, please, do bring your own gloves. That we can help you with. So we would ask that. Alice Briggs, standing to my right, is going to help us celebrate 2nd Annual World Labyrinth Day. Woo! Mark your calendar for May 6th. The location is TBD. We haven't determined it yet for sure, but we're working on that. It's a Saturday. It's going to be super cool. We have integrated yoga with Linda every Thursday evening, 5:30 p.m. We have yoga every Sunday with Matthew Quigley. It starts at 2 p.m. Everything I'm telling you about is on the website. Go to the website. Talk to somebody in the know, and they can probably tell you about it. Every Thursday, but the last one of the month, we have Community Connections. This is a Zoom offering for those folks who want to stay home but want to be part of our discussion. And Kathy Humphreys, right there in the back, leads that. So talk to her if you'd like to know a little bit more about that. I think I have most things. Join us, please, immediately after this for a beautiful lunch. If it's your first time, it's upon us. If you can't stay, if it's your first time and you can't stay today, it'll be on us the next time you come. So please return. And prayer partners, as Alice mentioned, will be with Rick Kitzman immediately after this, behind that wall. If you'd like to have a one-on-one affirmative prayer session about something going on in your life, Rick is your conduit to the divine, even though it's right there inside you according to him. So, I think that's it. Did I miss anything?
Deep dive.
Oh, the deep dive, right. As Kevin mentioned, after we eat lunch, I'm going to say around 12:35, 12:40, in the historic library, you'll get to take Love Your Enemies to a deeper level in a small facilitated discussion. And I think that's it. Oh, no, it is not everything. You were passed out a survey to fill out, which we are doing with each of our spiritual director candidates as they speak with us and show their stuff. We want to know what you think. If you don't have that card, you can get one from an usher as you're walking out. They'll leave here without filling one out if you'd like to. So is that everything? Goodness. Thank you.
Please stand as you're able and join me in our song this morning, Let There Be Peace on Earth. And instead of talking about co-creators, I'm going to say family. So when we get to that line, instead of co-creators, we're going to talk about family. Is that what we all are? So let's let there be peace on earth. With Thank you so much. Now Bob's going to send us off.
Alrighty, here's my microphone. Grab a hand, or two, or three. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
It is that thing called life.
It is that thing called life.
It is that thing called love.
It is that thing called love.
Love for myself.
Love for myself.
Love for my neighbor.
Love for my neighbor.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I am it.
I am it.
So it is.
How many cheers do you have?
I think so.
Are you the collector? Sorry? No. No.